If you've ever shared a track on a forum asking for a mix critique, but you really just wanted to show off the piece, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hi, I'm Ryan Thomas with 8Dio, and this is my writing partner, Watson. Watson, can you say hi to YouTube, bud? And we are here to share the official product walkthrough for the 8Dio Soulful Studio Bass Trombone, which is a solo bass trombone library with over 50 different articulations, including hyper-realistic legato that is truly just out of this world. And it is part of the Soulful Studio Brass series, so it interfaces really well with the other instruments in that series. And in this video, we are just going to very briefly go over the interface and the articulation categories, and then we are just going to audition every articulation so that you can hear each one at least once. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to start with an empty instance of Contact here so I can show you the kinds of patches that you can load. Of course, you just have the individual articulations if you don't want to mess with key switches and you only need one articulation for one reason or another. And then you have the prearranged key switch patch, which just comes pre-populated with a lot of the more common articulations that you are going to use. And of course, if you want to change any of these, you can just double-click the slot and then choose whatever articulation you want. Or you can start off with a completely empty articulation set and populate them however you want to. So again, you just double-click the slot and choose any articulation of the 4 categories. So you've got the traditional articulations, you've got the muted articulations, which includes a variety of mutes, the performance articulations, which are basically going to be your pre-recorded phrases, including the arcs, and then the effects, which of course are just going to be your effects. And I love this category. It just adds a ton of color to your writing. Now over here you have the instrument controls. So you have the mic position knob, and I'm going to show you how this affects the sound a little bit later on in the video. For now, just know that in all the musical examples that you're going to hear, I just have the knob set halfway between the close mic and the room mic, so you just get a nice mix of both. This, of course, is the pan control, and then this is just your basic volume control. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start checking out some of these articulations. And we are just going to start in the traditional category here. So we'll go from the short notes to the longs, and then I'm going to spend just a little bit more time on the legato. Okay, so this first one is staccato. This is staccatissimo. This is staccatissimo 2. Now, the difference between staccatissimo and staccatissimo 2 is that staccatissimo is going to give you a ta, whereas staccatissimo 2 is going to give you a tat. So the air supply is being cut off with the tongue, so you get that nice clipped ending to the note. Okay, this is marcato. This is marcato sforzando. These are the sustains. The sustains vibrato. Now, the legato in this library I think is just really stunning, especially for such an exposed solo instrument. And at the lower velocities, you are going to get a much longer transition between notes, whereas at the higher velocities, of course, you are going to get a faster legato transition. So this articulation can both be very nimble, it can play very fast passages with a lot of realism, or it can be very passionate and emotional. And here is another example of the legato. And I'm also going to take this opportunity to show you how the mic position affects the sound. So we're going to start off with 100% close mic, and then by the end of the selection, you are just going to be hearing the room mic. So you can hear how that affects the sound, and it just really gives you a lot of different options in terms of the different kinds of contexts in which you can use this instrument. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the mutes, and we will start off with the staccato straight mute. This is the marcato straight mute. And these are the sustains with the straight mute. This is the staccato with the Harmon mute. This is the marcato with the Harmon mute. And the sustains with the Harmon. And the short wahs. The long wahs. And the wah sustains. So yeah, there's just a ton of fun you can have with those, and they're really great for getting that old-timey kind of sound. Okay, let's move on to the performance articulations. So we're going to start off with the short arcs. And the medium arcs. And the long arcs. These are the tuplets. These are the triplets. The da-das. The da-da-das. The measured trim. And I should note, all of the articulations that involve any sort of rhythm are going to be tempo synced. Now you've got the slow runs and fifths, and depending on the orientation of the pitch wheel, the run will either be ascending or descending. And these are the fast runs. And then we have these last two articulations that I couldn't fit in the previous instance. So these are the octave runs, and these are only ascending. And these are the fast octave runs. Okay, now let's go ahead and check out the effects articulations. And these are just a lot of fun. They add so much color to your writing. So we're starting off here with the flutter tongues. These are the slow scoops. The medium scoops. The fast scoops. All those scoops would be really great in like a comedy context. These are the slow doits. The fast doits. The slow falls. The fast falls. The disco drops. The rips. And then I had two more articulations that I couldn't fit in the other key switch patch. So these are the shakes. And the long shakes. Okay, so that is every articulation in the library. Now I would just like to show you a couple selections that I went ahead and mocked up here so that you can hear some different ways that you can mix and match the articulations. And this first one here is a bit of a sort of a comedy piece, and you can see which articulation is being triggered in this interface over here. So you can hear just how much color you can get by combining all these articulations that you have available to you. And then finally, we have this selection over here, which is a bit more of a modern, sort of like a brass line type feel. So as you can hear, there are just a ton of different ways that you can use the library. Depending on how you've got the mic position set up and the articulations that you're using, I think it can sit well in an orchestral context, a modern brass line type context, and really pretty much anything in between. So it also just interfaces really, really well with the other instruments in the series. So that is going to do it for this walkthrough. I hope you were able to get a pretty good feel for the library. I had a ton of fun demoing all the articulations for you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching.